this computer. I think I hit the broadcast too fast. Hold on. I use this all the time, but not this aspect of it. Okay, let's see.
You're fine. We're still. Hi, Nicole.
Oh, there we go. Oh, no, not that one. Okay, I'm still trying to get it up on Facebook here.
Okay.
What? Oh, it says a user has opted out of platform. It won't let me put it on Facebook. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Darn, things were going so smoothly.
We're good.
How do I get it? Oh, I don't know if there's anybody here. Anybody here? Just us, I think. Okay. Let me see why I can't get it to go on Facebook.
Okay.
It might have been something I did. Okay, hold on 1 second. We might be starting a couple minutes late while I figure this out.
No worries.
We give people time to get on.
Yeah, they can do their bathroom break before.
I'm thinking there must have been something when I set it up that I didn't click that I should have clicked.
That's why
all right,
what's that, Nicole?
See.
That's so ironic. You have Aggies behind you. What a coincidence.
I know. Well, it's not the dolphin painting. I trimmed my angle. I don't think the kids want to see my world map, my curly ribbon station, and my dolphin paintings.
All right. Why is this not working?
I wish I could help, Jen. I'm not very
like, I have to hold on. I'm gonna have to let me text somebody.
Okay.
Help me.
There's no stress on our end, so Nicole, are the cats out of the room this time?
Oh, they are right now, but they might walk in. I'll just keep it muted.
So funny. Shelby's cats have been joining every meeting with us, Katie. Sitting there, and all of a sudden there's a cat on the screen, and we're like, oh.
That's so funny. I've tried showing my students my dog before, and she usually pees on me, so I don't do that anymore.
Oh. She's so excited for the attention.
All right, let me try this again. Okay, on a page I manage. What are they saying from educators? Next, it says,
Katie, what classroom are you in?
I'm in the engineering building, just in one of the random classrooms. So I go study with my boyfriend and all of his friends in like the classroom next to this. So I'm like, I'll just go in this classroom.
See you guys later.
Yeah. Have you guys been hearing all of my little dings from my messages?
I just heard that one, yeah.
Yeah, I just heard it.
I was like,
I heard them the whole time.
But
no, I just did that with mine too. I'm like, sometimes I think you forget, like, what's the thing, like when people think that their windows are rolled up so no one can see them if they're picking their nose in their car. Like, so when you're on a video chat, you're like, nobody heard that, right?
Nobody heard that. And then you like realize like, oh, my mute actually wasn't on.
Yeah, like all of my grad school classes when people are eating chips, I'm like, so those are loud.
There's actually like a commercial about that, someone eating like Snyder's pretzels or something on like a conference.
They're just so loud.
All right. She doesn't know what's going on either. We might not be live on Facebook. I don't want us to do that though. Email settings, branding, live streaming. Oh, maybe this is it. After launching the webinar, click more and then choose the service on which to live stream. That's what I did.
Sounds complicated. I hardly ever roam on Facebook, so I'm not going to be helpful at all.
Well, there's a button here and it says click live on Facebook. Okay, I'm going to try again. She's like, can you try again?
That's always the answer. Restart your computer.
Okay, trying third time, still not work. That's so weird. It says user opted out of platform. I don't even know what that means.
Are you guys, is it an account for LDSHE?
Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna add my friend. She's the expert and see if I can add her. Oh, that's an alternate host. Hold on. So how can I do that? Edit this webinar. Save. Down here, invitations, edit. Now I gotta look up her email address. Man, it went off without a hitch last time. I don't know what technology.
We're used to it. Every time I present, I feel like something goes wrong with our setup. We had pretty good luck at Mountain Ridge, though, Katie. We got lucky that day.
All right, so she's gonna jump on and see if she can.
Okay, we're fine. No worries. Like, really, I'm not stressed. So I hope you aren't.
There's a one attendee here. Hi, Tiffany. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. Just hang there with us. Okay, so Lisa's on. Lisa, see if you can.
Jen, it's not even giving me an option. I guess only the host can see it.
Oh, well, maybe, let me see if I can give you hosting privileges.
Yeah, see if you can give me hosting.
Okay. All right, I made you host.
There, I've got it. Let me see if I can do live on Facebook. User has. Okay, something's happened on Facebook because I'm getting that same error. User opted out of platform.
Yeah, I don't understand what that means.
I don't either. And unless something happened, like somebody clicked something.
Maybe it's something in the settings on our page.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think. And I don't know enough about Facebook.
All right, let me see if I can maybe figure something out. So
the action. All right, so I'm in their help. The action.
Maybe go under settings, general. Visibility, similar page.
Apparently this is happening right now on Facebook to a lot of people. But there might be a place in our Zoom settings, customize live streaming service, start a me. What was that? Oh, they're back. Okay, select custom live streaming, then go start a live. Oh my goodness, there's quite a, I mean, like it's gonna take me a little while to figure out how to do this workaround. So one other person is just saying, post it to your personal page and then share from your personal page to your business page.
Okay, so if I post it like on my page and then we can share it later, Tiffany suggested too, can we just post it on Facebook afterwards?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the only thing that we can probably do.
Okay.
I'm not seeing a good workaround, but I am seeing that when I type in that problem, like 53 minutes ago, people were complaining about it. 3 minutes they were. So this is something that's currently
going on.
Yeah, and it's
something with Facebook
from Zoom. Yeah.
Okay. How do I
think that's probably going to be the only thing that we're going to be able to do.
Okay, well, I'll just post it on my Facebook page and then we'll share it. And then of course it's going to go up on YouTube too, and we can share that.
Right. And I don't know, can you share immediately from,
Yeah, as soon as it's live, you can share it. So if you want to
So-
share it, Lisa, when I post it, we'll see. Well, let's see if that even works.
well, can't you just share it to the LDSHE once they get going?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can do
Go to
that.
your page and then share it. Give
Yes,
that
I
a
can do
try and
that.
see if that works.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take host back and try that.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Thanks, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Okay. Let's try this. Okay. Okay, that seems to be working to go on my own personal page. So let's see. Okay. All right. We are live. All right. Here we go. Now let me get. Okay. All right. We are live, and I shared it, so we should be good to go. Let's get started. Sorry about the technical difficulties. All right. Hello, and welcome to Latter-day Saints Home Educators Friday Vendor Workshop Series. LDSHE is an all-volunteer 5013 nonprofit with a mission to support, strengthen, and inspire Latter-day Saint families in home education. We've been putting on conferences that gather hundreds of LDS homeschoolers from across the country since 2004. We rely on our partnership with many different companies to make our conferences possible each year, and we want to thank you for taking time out of your day to support LDSHE and our sponsors. Now to introduce our vendor. This is Erin Kells with Utah State University. She oversees in-state recruitment of students to USU and works directly with high school counselors to coordinate events, conferences, and higher education days at each high school. She is responsible for planning and programming events hosted by the admissions office, reviews and awards scholarships to incoming students, and advises the group of ambassadors who work directly with the president of the university. So welcome, Erin. We're excited to hear from you. And I'm gonna
Sorry about that. I was muted. So thank you so much. We're excited to be here today. And one of our other presenters with me is one of our ambassadors, Katie Farley, and I'll let her introduce herself in just a minute. But as Jen said, my name is Erin Coles. I'm a recruiter for Utah State. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment. I've worked for Utah State for about 6 years. Prior to that, I decided on Utah State when I was in about 6th grade. I fell in love with Utah State University. Just so you guys have some background on it, we were founded in 1888 as a land-grant institution, which means every state in the country has a land-grant university, and Utah State University is that for the state of Utah. We're located in Logan, Utah, which is about an hour and a half north of Salt Lake City, just to give people some context on that as well. And we have locations throughout the state. So we'll kind of talk about that a little bit more as we go on through this presentation, just so you guys have some more information about that. And then the next thing is, just so you guys know, when I really fell in love with Utah State is I wanted to, I knew I wanted to move away from home, and I know that I wanted to really show, like, get away from home and have a good college experience. And Utah State offered that for me. It was kind of all encompassing. So like I said, I was so excited to come to Utah State when I was about 6th grade. I came up and stayed with my cousin at her dorm. She lived in what's called Merrill Hall. And I got to just see what it was all about. I got to see what a college student's life looked like. I got to see the aspects of moving away from home, making your own schedule. And I just fell in love with the idea of that. So from 6th grade on, that was kind of my goal. So I have an undergraduate degree from Utah State in journalism and communication. And then I have a master's degree from Utah State as well in education with an emphasis in instructional leadership. So I was going to let Katie Farley introduce herself now, so you guys have a student's perspective as well, not just a professional's perspective. So Katie, if you wanted to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, like Erin said, my name is Katie Farley. I am a sophomore up here on campus. I'm actually still in Logan right now. I'm still living in my apartment, and I'm studying human movement science with an emphasis in physical education. I am originally from West Jordan, Utah, which is in the Salt Lake Valley, and I didn't know as early on as Erin did that I wanted to come to Utah State, but I did know around my junior year in high school after visiting the university for a conference that I wanted to be there and I wanted to be involved, and it really is such a great place, and I hope that we can portray that to you guys digitally today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Katie. So you guys can see this is just kind of one of my favorite pictures of the university itself. So this hill, it doesn't really give you the scope of this hill, but when we talk about some of the information or some of the phrases we use is so you have some familiarity with it. This is Old Main with the A Tower. And this was the first building built on campus. And this is where basically it was the hub for the university. All of the classes were here. They had anything that happened at the university happened at Old Main. So it's one of our most iconic buildings on campus. A lot of people see it, and that's what they'll associate with the university. And Old Main Hill is right in front of that. So you can see that this is a place that it doesn't do it justice, like I said, to show you kind of the slope of that, but it's a steeper hill. A lot of people walk up those steps daily. Some use it for recreation, some use it for a means to get to class, but a lot of people will use it to, there's a lot of activities that happen on Old Main. And Katie can talk about that a little bit more as we go through. So as I mentioned, Utah State is the state university. And so what that means is in 1888, we were established, but the president at the time was Abraham Lincoln. He created this Morrill Act. It's called M-O-R-R-I-L-L, not morale, just so you know. But the Morrill Act, and that was where they designated this land for states to provide educational opportunities for people regardless of their situation. And as time has gone on, we've seen those changes with the university setting, and where we have different locations, we can really accommodate anyone in any walk of life. So Logan is our main campus, like I said before, that it's an hour and a half north of Salt Lake City, but we have about between 18,000 to 20,000 students who attend this campus. And it's the largest residential campus in the state of Utah. So what that means is 84% of our students are moving away from home to attend the university. So again, the uniqueness of that is that it provides an opportunity for students to get that full college education. Even within the state of Utah, a lot of kids that are attending, or a lot of students that are attending Utah State, are moving away from home. And I think that that really adds to the whole college experience, that you're having those independent experiences. You're learning how to do laundry at the same time as you're figuring out how to be a better cook, right? You can't just live on top ramen. But then you can see all these other little dots on the map, and this is where it will show you locations that Utah State has. So Logan is our main campus, like I said. Then we also have two other residential campuses in the state of Utah, and that is Price, which we refer to as USU Eastern. And on that campus, we have between 1,800 to 2,000 students. It's a lot smaller for students. Students actually pay half of the tuition amount that they would pay on our Logan campus. But it's a lot smaller. Generally, we also offer a lot of technical degrees at this campus as well. So if a student wanted to go into welding or cosmetology, this is a great option for them. And then we also have our Blanding campus, which really serves that population around there. A lot of students who attend this campus are Native American students, as it comes around that area of a lot of reservations. So it's kind of a unique campus in that respect. We have about 500 students on that campus as well. And then all of those other little dots are our statewide campuses throughout the state of Utah. So I actually live in Salt Lake City and work from our USU Salt Lake Center. And for me, it's really nice because my commute is very small, but I will go to Logan once a week so I can interact with the students that I work with or advise from our ambassador program. But you can see all these other little options that we really do have some flexibility for students to be able to take classes anywhere they are. And I love that Utah State offers that. They really do think about the student and how they can serve them best. And that goes to our online program as well, especially now in this climate and in these uncertain times. We're number one in the state with our online program, and where we had the whole stay home order that came out, that actually changed a lot of things for students, as I'm sure a lot of students are, you guys who have maybe tuned in, have been experiencing as well. So Katie, do you want to kind of talk about your experience with moving to online with any classes you didn't previously have, and then online classes previous to that as well?
So it was crazy because when they switched everything to online, they said, give us a week and everything will be switched to online. And a lot of my classes were switched in like 2 days because USU just has like the infrastructure and like the knowledge and the know-how to switch everything so quickly. And they had the people there able to help my professors do that. And so that was like a really smooth transition for me personally. And then even before it was online, I'm in a broadcast class for my anatomy, and my teacher, he lives in Blanding, that like really southern dot. And he would broadcast our class to us every Monday and Wednesday. And so even though like that class that I needed wasn't specifically offered on my campus, I was still given the opportunity to take that class. And that makes my schedule like so much better for the rest of my like college experience. So it just like allows your learning experience to go more smoothly, and it just gives you so many more opportunities because we have so many campuses.
Yeah, thanks so much, Katie. And I think a lot of other schools that we kind of noticed, or institutions, if you will, or higher ed institutions, when they had to move to an online delivery, it was kind of a challenge for them. And we were lucky in that the university already had that platform available. So it wasn't a tough transition for a lot of the professors on campus to be able to do that. And so I love that that's the flexibility that we have for those students as well, that it was a pretty seamless transition for us, and that we can continue to deliver those classes so students can be successful. So I know none of you guys will have any of this information unless you're online looking at some of this. Traditionally, we have what's called a view book that we hand out to students, and it lists out all of the different programs that are offered at Utah State. So we kind of talked about this before, that there's lots of different ways to study at Utah State. So our university is comprised of 8 different colleges. 2 that are really unique to Utah State is the College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences. So that's the Utah State Aggies. That's where we get our name from, because we were founded as an agricultural college. And then the other department or college that's really unique to our campus is the College of Natural Resources. And so we can go through some of those programs, but just to give you guys an idea of the spectrum of things that you can study anywhere from aerospace engineering to cosmetology, like I said, to get a certificate degree. So we offer certificate degrees through terminal degrees, which is a PhD at the university. And research is a big part of all of those, and we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. But really, it's kind of, there's a broad spectrum of things that students can study. So we have a great education program. We have an elementary school on our campus where there's a wait list for incoming K through 12 students to get into, but it's unique in that anyone who is studying elementary education can work with that classroom setting on campus, which is really cool. We're a space grant university, so we work directly with NASA. We have an aerospace program that's top notch. We have a space dynamics lab on campus as well, where students can work and volunteer And this image that you can see, the gentleman at the back on the bottom corner with the spider on his hand, we have what's called a spider silk lab. And just to kind of give you a little point of reference on that. So basically, Randy Lewis is one of our professors at Utah State. They wanted to find a way to mass produce spider silk. And so what they did is they took the DNA of a specific spider and they put it into a goat. Then once that goat started producing milk, they could break down that spider silk protein from the goat's milk. So it was a mass production of it. And then they could find different ways and different strengths to use that. And some of the ways that they did that is they created a thread for spider silk thread that they could sew sports uniforms. So instead of it tearing, if it was pulled, it would just stretch. They also have created a gel base with that spider silk protein that you can put it at the area where you would potentially have maybe an IV inserted into a vein. So, and if there's any airborne viruses or diseases like we have right now, right, with Corona, it can block any interception of that entering your bloodstream because you have that spider silk gel. So this is just one example. But again, with all of these different programs that are offered at Utah State, there are myriad ways to get involved with research and to be involved in your different college. As I indicated, I graduated in humanities. So I was in the college, we call it the College of Chas. With a degree in journalism and communication. And this will age me, but part of my education in my program was during the 2002 Olympics. I had an opportunity to get involved with some PR initiatives while we were hosting the Olympics here in Utah. And so it was really cool to complement what I was learning in school with going and working with some of the news news and media outlets that were here for the Olympics. So again, we really want kids to have experiences that will complement their education, but also help them find out if it's the right path, right? Sometimes you might be set on something and you'll get into a class and think, oh my goodness, this is wrong for me. A good example of that is I remember I started in human resource management and I went to the first day of my business calculus class. And I had no idea what the professor was saying. He started writing on the board. It looked like a different language. And when he started speaking, it sounded like a different language. So I went home and I cried and then I changed my major. So the nice thing is where we have 162 different programs and degrees, you have the flexibility to explore what that looks like. And then if you need to change, you can. Katie, have you stayed with what you were initially starting, like what you started out as?
No, I was originally a communication studies major. And though I really liked it, I just I've always loved teaching and I've loved PE. And so I was like, we'll just go back to that vein. And so, but the classes I took were so great. It was just I don't really feel like this is right. And then the advisors and everyone helped so much with so that could be a smooth and easy transition so that I didn't get lost, taking new classes and stuff.
Absolutely. And I think that's what the whole goal is, right? Is we want students to find their niche, whatever it is, what's going to make them be successful and happy once they graduate from university. So this is just, I wish we could show you guys these videos, but basically these are some of the examples we have of research on campus. And so the difference is we're an undergrad research institution. What that means is we're the second in the nation behind MIT. And because of that, we're the second oldest. We've had a lot of experience with giving students these opportunities to be really involved and hands-on in their learning, in their research. So the unique part of that is a lot of people research, they don't think that that's something that they want as part of their education, or they're not really aware of it going into it. But really what it ends up doing is giving you opportunities to participate with a professor in a different research project, study, whatever it might be. But then you can put that on a resume and say, yeah, I studied outdoor product design at Utah State University, but here's what I did with it. So by the time a student is a senior at Utah State, 75% of our students have either completed fieldwork or an internship in their degree. And like I said, what that really does is it adds to a student's employability. People see that and they say, great, tell us more about this. So these are a couple of examples that we have, but I wanted to share a couple that I had in my back pocket of some people that I personally knew that did it, and I'll have Katie share some as well. But one of our students, we have a program on campus that's called the SEED program, and it's funded through the business school. So basically what it is these students can choose one of 6 different countries to go to, and they are funded through this research money that we receive at the university. And they go and they help local artisans, people who are trying to develop a business, and the student works with them to develop a business plan. What does it look like for production? What does it look like for distribution? Whatever it looks like. And so one of our students did this. His name was Christian Hobbs, and he went to Peru to do this SEED program. And at the end of his time, when he came back to the university, when he was a senior and he started applying for jobs, he was able to list this experience on there. And he was interviewing with General Mills, who makes all of the yummy cereal we like to eat. And he was interviewing with the likes of a lot of students who were graduating from some Ivy League schools as well. And so Christian went in for his interview, and when they were talking to him, they asked him, can you tell us a little bit more about this SEED program? And when he explained to them what it was, they were like, that's incredible. What a great experience you had. And it really set him apart, and he was able to secure the job. He moved to Arizona first for it, and now he's back in Philadelphia working for General Mills, and he loves it. So I think it's just those experiences that it complements your education, or it helps you find out if it's not what you want to do. Another example is one of our former ambassadors named Tyler Phelps. He was all about, he was ready to be a doctor. He was very excited to be pre-med, and he went to the very first day of his anatomy lab. So if you guys aren't sure what an anatomy lab is, it's where people have donated their bodies to the university or to science so that students can study them. So the professor at Utah State, Andy Anderson, who runs this lab, when we say hands-on, he is very hands-on. So you go to the anatomy lab, you put on your gloves, you put on your apron, and there's about 6 different tables within the anatomy lab with people on them. And above each of the names, each of the tables, there's a little whiteboard, and it has the person's name, who they are, what they did in life, what complications they died from. And it's really cool because it's very respectful of the people. But Tyler goes to the first day of his lab, and he's really excited. He's like, this is my first day on my path to becoming a doctor. And they pull back the sheet at the first table, and he passes out. So, everyone's helping Tyler get up, making sure he's okay. And he's like, it's a fluke, you guys. I didn't eat breakfast today. Don't worry about me. Then he goes to the next day that he has his lab, and he passes out again. So it was time for him to do a little reassessment, and he was thinking, maybe this isn't the path for me. And he found this out through these classes that it wasn't necessarily the path for him. So he switched to a business degree, and he graduated, and he's doing great. So really, we just want students to find the right path and to have those experiences as a student that leads to a successful career after. Katie, did you want to share any research experience that you or somebody you know has?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, one of my roommates is a food science major. And so she works in lots of different labs actually on campus. She's been in the Aggie ice cream lab, where she goes and she develops new flavors of ice cream. But then she also does research on the properties of different things. And before all of this coronavirus thing started, they were actually going to do a lab to see how how different people liked a certain type of it was a corn dog or something. It was kind of weird and different, and you wouldn't really imagine that all of that may be considered research, but it covers a whole spectrum. And this semester I'm actually in a class that teaches me how to do research within the field of kinesiology, and to learn about all of the different facilities that we have on campus for us to do research, like an underwater treadmill and things like that. Not only are those opportunities given to students financially, but the professors and the advisors are all there with the facilities to help you do that and to get that hands-on experience. And we weren't able to use any of them because of the coronavirus, but it's just really awesome.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that too. I mean, hopefully after Corona, we'll have those hands-on, right, again. But part of that too is like what I failed to mention is with that undergrad research designation comes funding from the state and federal government. So the university receives money from both of those entities to help fund this research. And you can even apply for a research grant if there's something specific that you are working with a professor to do. And it can extend, like we said, to all areas of study. This one example on the far left with the gal in the orange, she is part of our outdoor product design program. And it's kind of cool. It's one of the first in the nation. And it's a really competitive program. But what they do is they work directly with different vendors with creating products for outdoor product design. So it's interesting to see a lot of students who go into this major, they become, they have to learn how to sew if they don't previously know how to. And we've had quite a few men in the program who, it's been a new, what's the word I want? New task or new thing for them to learn how to sew. And it's really cool because one of our other students who did the outdoor product design program, his name's Ryan Taylor, he was able to go and do an internship with Columbia Sportswear in Oregon. And then that actually led to a full-time position for him after. So there's, like I said, it just leads to a lot of different opportunity for students. And the list goes on, and you can see where the research makes a big impact in people's lives, but also like as a student, how it has an impact on your education as well. So this one, I know we're kind of casting a broad net, so I don't know if people who are tuning in or watching this are all seniors in high school, if you're a junior, whatever age you might be, but this is just a good slide and good information to have in your back pocket. The application process for Utah State is fairly easy. It usually takes about 20 to 30 minutes to fill out your application. But this is how you do it. And all of this can be found on our website, on the admissions website as well. So if you have specific questions with that, if you are a current senior and you are looking at Utah State for fall, one thing to know is that we have extended our scholarship deadline until June 1st. So if you haven't yet applied and maybe this piques your interest, know that our academic scholarship deadline has been extended to June 1st. And we're hoping that can give some students some flexibility. I know plans may have changed for a lot of people right now, but you would fill out your application at that website listed there. There's a $50 application fee. And then what we need is your transcript. So I know if you are part of a homeschool, then we would need your ACT score as well. And then if you have taken any concurrent enrollment classes, which means you've taken any college classes while you were a high school student or a homeschool student as well, this is what we would need from you to process that application. And then just to kind of talk really quick about what it looks like to pay for that education, right? That's a big part of anyone's decision where they attend. So this number 7 highest ranked public university, with that ranking, the reason why that is something that we can talk about or boast or give that ranking is basically what they're saying is for the quality of education and the caliber of education you receive at Utah State compared to the amount you pay, that's where they can give it that ranking. So they're saying you're just getting this really high quality education, but you're not paying as much for it as you would at maybe another institution. So as you can see, again, we have that flexibility like we've talked about with different locations, different campuses. And we also have some flexibility with our tuition amounts. So this is in our resident, and unfortunately I can't click on the non-resident, but again, you can look at that online. But just to give you an idea of what it looks like, our Logan and statewide campuses, so that's all those other little dots, this is the amount they would pay for tuition. And then on the other column, you can see where our Eastern and Blanding campus, they're about half the amount for the tuition, about $3,000 less. So there's some nice flexibility there for students as well. A lot of our out-of-state students who come will become residents of the state of Utah so that they can pay in-state tuition, or if they are awarded an academic scholarship. One of the conditions with that is that they gain residency after their first year. And it's fairly easy to gain residency in the state of Utah. It is mandated by the state the way that you do that. So if you have specific questions about that, we can go through those. But this is just to give you an idea of what it looks like again. And same with our non-resident tuition. It's the same idea that you would have the higher scale versus the lower, just based on the campus in which you attend. So really quick, this is what our scholarship index looks like. Again, this is listed online too. This is showing you our in-state, and we're going to focus mostly on that scholarship index, not on the others that are listed, as those are, the scholarship deadline has passed for those. But we follow an index as far as awarding scholarships goes, and we go off of your GPA and your ACT or SAT scores, and then you can find where those match up. So I would refer you to the USU admissions page for that as well, just so you can see what the non-resident looks like, and the different options that are available. Something of note, if you do have a tie to Utah State University, so if you have a parent or grandparent or even a great-grandparent, a step-parent who attended Utah State University, you could qualify for the Legacy waiver. So we have a Legacy 1 and a Legacy 2 waiver that we look at for students. And what that means is that they're allowed to come to the university and pay in-state tuition their first year, and then they would gain residency after the first. That's our Legacy 1. Legacy 2 means you could maintain residency in your home state, but you would have to pay an additional amount to maintain that as well on top of the resident tuition. I know that probably sounds a little confusing, so if you have specific questions about that as we go through, we can talk about that a little bit more. If you are not a senior this year and you are looking at these, I would make sure you're aware of any of the other incoming freshman scholarships that we offer through our office that are under those non-academic awards as well. So just make sure you're well versed in that. I think if you can find ways for someone else to pay for you to go to college, by all means, do it. I think that if you can find things to stack, I think it's a good opportunity for you to not have to go feel the financial burden of college. Katie, do you have anything to add on that part?
Yeah, I would just say definitely, if you're not a senior, like, keep in mind all of these deadlines and stuff, and really pay attention to the grades and the ACT score, SAT score that you need. And along with that, once you're in school, there are continuing opportunities to get scholarships. We have something called Award Spring that we can go on this website in the springtime and fill out like a generic scholarship application, and a system will automatically apply that to as many scholarships as it can, and then it will like send you a list of, okay, we need extra information for these ones. And so then you don't have to go searching for scholarships that the university is willing to give out. They're all listed there for you, and so those opportunities are there continually throughout as well.
Absolutely. And also, if there are, like I said, any independent scholarships, like I always like to tell, if I find out about scholarships, I'm always happy to tell students about it. I mean, Jiffy Lube, I don't know, like those, I don't know if they're nationwide, but here in Utah, Jiffy Lube Utah gives out a specific scholarship cash award. Foot Locker has a scholarship. I think this year it was like either $10,000 or $20,000. You had to write an essay. But that's huge. One of our former ambassadors actually received that. They came to Utah State from Arizona, and they had received the Foot Locker scholarship for being involved in their community with soccer as a referee and as a coach. So, I mean, if there are ways for you to get other money and cash awards, please look at those and be aware of them. I think I'm glad Katie brought up that spring award, because that is something that's really helpful for students as well. So the next page, I'm actually going to turn it over to Katie to talk to you guys about the fun parts of Utah State. Learning is fun, absolutely, but we want you to know, like, part of the reason I think that people love Utah State so much is the experiences that they have in and out of the classroom. So it's the people that you interact with and the different events or things that you're involved with really complement your education. So Katie, if you're ready, I'm going to turn it to you to talk about the fun stuff.
Perfect. So I'm just going to, oopsies, sorry. I'm just going to kind of go through all the letters on the screen that have different pictures in them and kind of explain what's going on and why they're so fun. So in the A right there, you can see that it has our A tower that Erin talked about at the beginning of the presentation. But that A tower, every single day it lights up white at night, except for the days when we win any sort of a competition, and then it lights up blue. And the thing that's really fun is because Utah State is set on a hill over the whole like Cache Valley, everyone in the city of Logan can see when the Aggies are winning. And it's just, I think it shows a lot of the community aspect that there is up here at Utah State and in Logan. And right now, actually, because of the coronavirus, they're actually lighting it blue all the time, which is something that our president decided to do. And then the first G is some people sledding down Old Main Hill. It is a little bit colder in Logan during the winter months, but there are so many fun things to do. We'll talk about this a little bit later on, but there are multiple ski resorts super duper close, and people go sledding all the time. Sometimes it's actually hard to sled soon enough after a snowfall before the whole hill is just like packed down from people sledding on it, because people jump on the opportunity so quick. And then the third one we'll also talk about a little bit later. We are positioned in Logan right next to the entrance of Logan Canyon. So there's a ton of outdoor recreational opportunities. So that second G shows a bunch of people out camping. And there's also different programs on campus that encourage students to do so. The I has a girl who is eating ice cream, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier with my roommate who works in food science, but she worked in the Aggie ice cream laboratory. And so we're voted the #1 ice cream in the state, and it is so good. We have our own blue mint flavor where it's, instead of being green, the color of it is blue, and it has white chocolate chips in it, and it's super duper good. The E there is one of our biggest traditions here on campus, and it is True Aggie Night. And what that is, it's a tradition that comes from long before, almost towards the beginning of the school. But every month on the night of a full moon at midnight, 2 students can get on top of what we call the A block, and that's the little A thing that they're standing on. And when they kiss, they become true Aggies, and they get a little card that says, on this night, I became a true Aggie with this person. And it's super funny. It's like all official. And this year they actually created ramps to make it wheelchair accessible so that all students can become Aggies, even those with physical disabilities. And that is one thing that I really, really loved. And then the very, very last letter, the S, shows our student section, which is called the Herd. And it is the best. Both in football and basketball season, it is so loud and it is so much fun. And they'll do different like themes. Like during football season, they have what's called Stripe the Stadium, and they give out free shirts, and each section is a certain color. So it's like white and then blue and white and blue, and they take a big picture of it. And then during basketball season, we have a very, I don't want to say small, but like very close basketball arena that can get so loud because of the student section. We have like half of the arena full of just students, and then the other half is full of other Aggie fans. And so those are just like some of the fun things that there are to do up here on campus.
Nice. So the next slide, kind of the outdoors, what you're talking about, the location and where we are. The nice thing is with this is there's the outdoor programs. And so Katie, if you want to touch on that too, when you talk about this.
Yeah, for sure. So when you come up to Utah State, like Erin said, we are 84% residential. So like, for example, I moved from the Salt Lake Valley, and I didn't bring with me like all my camping gear and a tent and all those things I might need to go and have a fun weekend in the canyon. But Utah State has what's called outdoor programs, which is a place where you can go and you can rent camping equipment, or even like if you want to go up to Bear Lake, which is like 45 minutes north of us, you can rent paddle boards and stuff like that. And then they even do like planned trips where you can go down to like Arches for like $80 for a whole weekend, and that will cover your travel and your rentals and entrance into the park and your food. And so it's a super cheap way to have fun and get to know lots of friends and people who are interested in the same things as you. And if you do it a number of times, you can actually become a group leader and take people on those trips. And they don't just go down to Southern Utah, they'll go to all these other places, and it's super fun. And so that kind of shows this first half of when it's warm outside. And then the second half of the page that shows when it's colder outside. We have a ski resort right up Logan Canyon called Beaver Mountain. There's also one a little bit farther north, closer to Idaho. But the one in Logan Canyon, you can go to, you can get your own pass, but you can also take a class, a ski or snowboard class as a student. And you just carpool with people up there. You usually only have it once or twice a week. And so if that's something that you've never done before, but you want to learn how to do it, you can do that up here at Utah State and get credit for it.
Awesome, thanks. You know, I know you already kind of touched on this. We have a really cool clip of the student section that we can't show you. But this is where, when Katie was talking about how fun it is to be a part of the herd, we have a great clip of like what the student section looks like and how loud they are. But Katie, if you want to talk about even just some experiences at games or whatever you want here.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that clip is super awesome. If you want to, you can actually like Google or YouTube like Utah State herd or Utah State student section. And if you want to, you can even add, I believe that we will win. That is like an immortalized clip of Utah State. And so we are just so loud and so supportive. One thing that we did this last year before we played BYU in football, we had a camp out the night before in our field house, which is an old gym that we have up here on campus. And so the student section, the herd, it's an actual organization here on campus. It has leaders, and like they planned this night, and they brought pizza and treats for everyone, and they brought different games for people to play all night long, and they gave away prizes. And if you stayed until a certain hour in the morning, they would give you like a 15-minute early entrance ticket to the game so that you could be on the front row at the game. And so there's all sorts of fun things like that they do. I'm actually wearing a shirt from our blackout game from that one. And so they'll do different themes, like I said before, and it's just super fun. And you don't have to be like super duper involved if you don't want to. Like, you don't have to be like in the leadership or like sign up for it if that's like not your thing, but you are always like going to be part of the herd. It's not like you have to have like this pass or anything to be in it.
Right, and we also have opportunities for sports on our Eastern campus as well. And that's why there's two logos there. Like there's the Utah State Aggies, which is the Logan and anywhere else. And then USU Eastern is the Eagles, because it's considered part of the National Junior College Athletic Association. But there's some opportunities there for students. They wanted to play soccer, basketball, volleyball, basketball, whatever it is, collegiately at a junior college. There's some opportunities for students to do that as well. One of my friend's daughters actually just received a scholarship to play soccer on our USU Eastern campus, and she's really excited to start that because it's a little bit smaller. She didn't perform as well as she wanted to in high school, so it's a good option for her with smaller classes. And then it also gives her that opportunity to play a sport in college. But even if you're not a college athlete, right, you can do intramurals, which Katie, I don't know if you've been on any intramural teams that you want to share about that, but.
Yeah. So this last year I actually did sand volleyball intramurals up here on campus, and it was so much fun. And they do like all sorts of different ones too, not just like your mainstream like volleyball, basketball, flag football. They do battleship. So like you go into the pools that we have up here on campus, and you are in kayaks with your team, and you have to try and dump the other team by splashing water on them, and like you have like big buckets, so you can try and like sink them. And so they have battleship, and they also have if you're into like digital sports and like video games, they're offering like Mario Kart and like things like that. They'll do like little tournaments for that as well. So it like caters to all the interests. And we even have a lot of different club sports up here on Logan campus. So if you play lacrosse or men's soccer or rugby and you want to play it collegiately, hockey is a huge one. We get so many people out to hockey games. And so there are lots of opportunities for all levels of like athletics to continue playing and enjoying your sport when you do graduate and go on to college, because that's kind of sad sometimes to graduate high school and be like, oh, I can't play my sport competitively anymore, but there's a ton of opportunities still up here.
For sure. So in student life, we kind of, I mean, Katie's really captured a lot of it, but like it's a big part of our university. And we, again, like going back to that same idea is like, we want you to have that whole college experience. So if you wanted to follow us on Instagram, it's USU Aggie Life. And it's fun because they'll have different students do a takeover where they'll highlight a different college or program that they are currently in. And they'll give you a student's perspective of what's happening on campus. So if you guys have any interest in that, and then Katie, if you want to talk about a few of these on here, then we can get towards the wrapping up. But if you'll talk about a few different events on campus, that would be great.
Yeah, for sure. So we've talked a lot about like athletics and like recreational things, but that's definitely not the interest of everyone. And one of my very favorite ones that caters to most students up here on campus is the top middle event within these pictures. That's called POBEV. So the PO or the PO part stands for poetry, and then BEV is beverage. And so those are usually held on either Friday or Saturday nights, sometimes after like a different event up on campus. And the first like 1,000 students who come, they'll get a free treat and beverage. So like during the fall time, they'll have like pumpkin spice donuts and apple cider, or they'll have hot chocolate in December and different things like that. So the first people get that, and then it's an open mic night or like a poetry slam kind of a deal. So people can get up and they can share poetry, or they can sing, they can do comedy. And it is so much fun, a great place to go and make new friends and just a really chill environment. And so that's definitely one of my very favorite events up here on campus. And then some of the other ones that are really cool, down in the bottom left corner, we have the powwow. We have lots of different like groups here on campus for different cultures and people who aren't even like genetically part of a culture or a group. They can still go if they like love them and they support them. They can be part of those groups and they can go to their events like the powwow. And then we also have a luau with our Polynesian Student Union Club, and our Latinx community. They do different dances and things. I actually went to a Latinx dance on my birthday this last year because I thought it was so fun. And so those are some of the other things that are up here on campus. And the other ones are like different traditions that we have both on the Eastern and the Logan campus. So yeah, they're just all super fun.
Lots of things to get involved with. I always say if you're bored in college, it's your own fault because you should be studying or hopefully participating in something. One thing too that's really big at Utah State is our service. We have what's called the Valar Christensen Service Center. And if you're looking for ways to get involved through service and leadership, there's lots of great opportunities that way. I don't know if you've done anything with that, Katie, specifically, but if you have anything to add on that. But if you are looking for service opportunities, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah, so this year I actually got involved in the Aggie Red Cross Club. And so I'm not like a medical personnel or anything, but I would just go and I would volunteer at the check-in desk, and I was able to help with those. And we actually got to meet with really cool leaders from like the Red Cross Club, and like one time someone who was like the intermediate between the LDS Church and the Aggie Red Cross Club came and talked to us about everything and like all the work that they do around the world. And so it was fun to be a part of something huge and worldwide on a smaller scale here on campus and to get that experience. A lot of pre-med students will get involved in a lot of clubs like that. And it's, again, just like the research, it's a huge resume booster as well as just good experience to go and help people. One of the biggest things right now that's helping me out a lot, and that helped me out a lot throughout the school year, was the snack pantry. And so that is a student food pantry where they can go and they can get free food once a week, and it's usually non-perishables. But we also have all sorts of restaurants out here on campus, and so the things that they don't sell on Monday, on Tuesday it will go to the snack. So if you just need to go and like pick up something, you can go and get like a sandwich that someone didn't sell yesterday, and you can get it for free that day. And so they really care about like keeping the students fed, and you can go and you can volunteer at that, or you can reap the rewards of it as well and go and get food. And it's helped me stock up and be prepared for this coronavirus. So yeah.
Definitely. I love that we have that for students too. And I think that we always talk about it in our different presentations, that we're always talking about where's the free food when you're in college, right? So it's nice for me whenever I clean out my pantry, I just bring it up to Logan and all the kids the students take advantage of it, right?
Mm-hmm. For
So
sure.
really quick, just so you guys are aware of different events that we have, we're actually holding virtual events right now through our admissions webpage. So if you were to go to that first URL, the truebluedays.usu.edu, we're hosting different virtual events. So similar to something like this, where if there's like specific topics and information you want to find out about, we're doing it through here. So it's kind of cool because if we'll have somebody from housing and dining services. We just had one this last Wednesday. They're called What's Next Wednesdays, where we talked about scholarship and residency. So we have a list of different topics that we're covering, but this is a really great resource, especially because we're living in that virtual world right now, that you can take advantage of it. And we're hoping, we're planning on fall as usual. So hopefully going back to business as usual. And that's where a lot of these different events and open houses will come into effect. So we have open houses that we hold throughout the whole state of Utah, but then also we hold them in different states. So you can also go to that website, the openhouses.usu.edu, and see if there is an open house coming to you, depending on where you're located. And then Katie, do you want to talk about some of those True Blue Days that maybe you've been a part of, or that maybe piqued your interest when you came to Utah State?
Yeah. So like I said at the beginning, I didn't know that I wanted to come to Utah State until I came up to a conference, or in other words, until I came to a True Blue Day. And the one that I came to that like changed my mind and made me want to come to Utah State was the Leadership Day. I was involved in student government and different student leadership in high school. And so I came up to that, and it was insane because I was able to feel like I was at home in a place I had never been before. I had never been to Logan in my life, and I felt so at home and so welcome, and I knew I wanted to come up here. And I also have had the opportunity to help out with the Diversity and First Generation Day a lot, and I am a first gen, and so that's been something really cool to be able to do, to learn what opportunities are available to you and like be in an environment where it's like I may not have been taught this from my parents or from like the people who surround me, but we're here to help you figure those out. And so those are two of my favorite days that I've been highly involved in. All of them are great, and I am a huge promoter of coming up onto campus and seeing how you feel, and honestly anywhere you're interested in going to school, doing that, to see like how you feel there, and if you feel like it's a place that you can be happy and really be successful. And that's how I felt when I came up to school and visited it.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, in case you're not aware of the term first generation, or sometimes they're called first scholars, it means that you are the first person in your family to attend a university or a college and attain a degree. So my nieces, like neither of their parents have gone to college, so they would be considered first generation. It doesn't look a certain way, it's just that's the qualifier with it. And so I think sometimes it's interesting navigating that too, just so you guys are aware of what that means. Katie touched on this already, and she's also one of the people who, if you were to come to campus, she would give you a campus tour. But unfortunately right now we can't do that, right? So another great resource is we have virtual campus tours available right now. So if you were to go to that same website listed there, you can go on a virtual tour of campus, do all of the different videos or pictures essentially of campus. And so you can get a lay of the land and see where buildings are located, maybe locate where you might be taking classes. But then when it does become an option to go on a campus tour in person, we always recommend it. I think that is one of the biggest determinants for a lot of students, is getting on a campus and seeing how they feel and if it's a good fit for them. And I know even for me, like I said, back when I was in 6th grade and I came to campus, that's when I just knew Utah State was for me. And sometimes it's a slow burn for other people. But I feel like definitely this is a great resource for students to know if it's going to be a place where they want to spend the next 4 to 5 years of their life, right? So that is the end for us. Katie, do you have anything to add to that before we go to any questions people might have?
No, I am all good.
Hey, so hopefully this has been helpful for a lot of people and informative. Like we said, we love being being Aggies. We love being a part of Utah State, and we hope that people find that as well for them. But we are happy to answer any questions you guys might have at this time if there are any.
Hold on. Okay, I got my mic unmuted, but not my, there I am. Okay. All right, awesome. I'm looking, I've not seen any questions. But thank you so much, guys. I'm sitting here wishing I was young again and I could go to school.
We would love to have you.
Yeah, I got too many kids to take care of. But yeah, so thank you for taking the time to talk to us about it. It does look amazing. So hopefully some people have gained some interest that they might not have thought about it before. So that's awesome. I appreciate it so much. And hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Right.
Thanks so much, Jen.
Bye.
You. Thanks, Katie.
Bye.